Here we go, it is race day and we finally have onboard footage of the race, and we're at glorious Goodwood this week for the Cat 3, Cat 4, and as usual everyone starts whacking it off the start and I get suckered into whacking it, and I was quite a long way back when we come into the pits, so I just, I like to be near the front, so I'll burn a few matches straight off the bat here in a second, trying to move up just here. Just straight away, I'm like seeing all these people go off the front. And after my last performance at Hog Hill, I'm thinking I'm a breakaway man now. I need to be near the front. But in all honesty, if you want a course that is as wide as the M25, no technical ability, and if you're in the bunch, it is fairly easy to get round. I mean, it's not like easy, but it's a good starting point for people. It is a really popular circuit, the Goodwood circuit. I absolutely hate it. I've decided I do not have the power for this course. I'm a one-trick pony. I need a climb. But anyway, you know how it is. I gave it the beans. So I'm moving up here. I'm burning pointless matches, as you just saw at the start, but I'm moving up because I see people going off the front and I'm thinking, I want some of that action. So I'll probably there's probably only about 5 or 6 people in front of me. We're only about 2 minutes in here, and you can just see over these guys' shoulders people going off the front. This guy goes, I'm like, I'm going to ping it. I'm going to get in on some action and I'm going to go as well. And you know full well, it is extremely unlikely. I mean, he doesn't really want to shut it down, so I've gone round, shut it down. And to be honest, it was like a bridge over, and we actually had a little bit of a gap here. I think the next group of people, no one was fully committed to this, because what you'll notice in like a Cat 3, Cat 4, is the difference between when you watch the elites, when they get in a break, they like roll turns and it looks real smooth and they're absolute legends at it. In the 3-4, we just sort of whack it on the front, flick an elbow and hope someone comes through. And I think we did have a little bit of a gap here, but you can see when everyone's looking over your shoulder, no one's fully committing to it, because on lap 1, everyone's fresh. They're going to shut it down. I don't know why So I come through. I do an absolute hero effort to close down the gap on this guy. But yeah, we all know nothing's really going to come of this, but it might put a little bit of a dent in some legs. So, I mean, it's putting a dent in my legs straight off the bat. But you're going to get a lesson in how not to ride circuit races here, because that's just the way I roll. I like to be at the front, giving it the berries. For all the people that just sit in and wait for the sprint, you can't go home to your missus or your husband and be like, oh yeah, I had a great performance today. You gotta be mixing it at the front, giving it some ponies. But I mean, it's been a pretty full gas start, and that is because I'm near the front. You can see someone's pinged it on the left here, and everyone's like, I think it's down here. It's just down here. This guy's not really interested in closing the gap. So, yet again, I'm just burning matches, closing gaps that you don't really need to do this on lap 1, but it's fun. That's why we're doing it. I'm not there to sit in. I'm there to get a good workout in. First or last, don't bother me. If I can come home and think I've had a mega workout. But just coming down here, a guy shouts now, I think, a couple of guys, we've got a gap. So instantly when you hear that, even if you just heard him, he shouted, we've got a gap. So everyone just like thinks, geez, we've got a gap. And we all start nailing it again, because if you do get a gap, get away, there's a better chance for you to win, basically. In a bunch sprint, for me, I'm as good as a chocolate teapot, to be honest. I haven't got much of a sprint, but you can still see no one's committing. But luckily this Lacquer, I think they're called Lacquer, has shut down this gap. So I've just jumped on his wheel quick. And it was a pretty full-on first lap, I'm not going to lie. I was just there thinking, your man's going to try and get in the break, if there is a break. But if what you need to realise is you're probably looking at these numbers thinking this is mad. But if you're sitting in the group, like this is putting a hole in my legs. If you're just sitting in the peloton, cruising round, you can do like 200 watts, under 200 watts, and just getting round comfortably. If you're trying to get in breaks and stuff, it is hard going. But you'll see here, nothing really comes of it. Everyone's still fresh on lap 1. So I've sort of eased out to the left because I can tell the peloton were like catching us pretty rapidly. But that's lap 1. You can see there's nothing really technical. There's a little chicane, a couple of corners, but it is just full gas. You average like 27.5, 28 mile an hour around here. It's just fast. So if you want to try and get in a break, get off the front, you got to be willing to sell your soul to be off the front, and you've got to be powerful. And 1, I can sell my soul, but 2, I'm not very powerful. But look, you can see here, it's all come back together. Nothing's come of it. So I'm just thinking now, I'm going to sit in, get a little bit of recovery. You can see here, it's probably about a lap later now. I've sat in for a bit, got some recovery. No one's really going now. And then I've just come round to the side, and yet again, I'm burning more matches. I'm not in the slipstream now. I'm moving up because I can see people are starting to ping off the front again. And we're only on like lap 3, and I'm like, I want to be in the mix. I want to be in these breaks. I've got to be going, giving it the berries. Luckily, this guy, I think this guy here in the blue kit with the black shorts, he is Team Man Bun. I'm pretty sure this is the guy that's got a man bun. He's an absolute animal. If he comes past you, look at this. You're just like, you got to jump on his wheel because he can close down a gap within the blink of an eye. It's absolutely marvellous when you got a wheel like that to follow. But you can see just here why it accelerated. If just round the corner, you can see a couple of guys had gone off the front, and they actually managed to get a little bit of a gap. So jumping into this next clip, we all sort of eased up along the start-finish straight. They managed to get a little bit of a gap, and I'm thinking, I want to be in the fun. I want to be over there. So we're over the far side now, and people are trying to bridge across to it because they got a fairly sizable gap. You can just see the 2 of them going around that corner there. I've sat on Surrey Cycle Works wheel here, eased up a bit, and then I've just thought, I'm going to bridge. So I've just absolutely whacked it. Right, we're on like lap 3 now. I'm putting dents in my legs. This is why, come the end of the race, I'm an absolute shell of a man when it comes to the sprints. But I'm like, I'm going to bridge over, see what comes of it. If nothing comes of it, nothing comes of it. But I knew it was going to hurt. So anyway, I've absolutely whacked it for about 60 seconds. It might not have been 60 seconds. It felt like an eternity. They've seen me coming up. I've jumped on the back. Look how long. Like, bearing in mind, I've just bridged over max effort bridge. Look how long I get. Like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I think he flicks the elbow on me somewhere here. It was literally like 10 seconds. He flicks the elbow. I've literally just sold my soul to bridge over. And then I'm back on the front. And I'm not going to lie, this was the point I realised I wasn't going to make a break stick unless there was a lot of people in it. And probably just, I don't have the power on the flats. I don't want to use that as an excuse. I just don't think I'm aero. But look at the pull this guy does. So we've just done a decent pull. He literally comes through and then goes straight off. And I'm thinking, holy cow, if Kingston Wheeler's guy doesn't do a big turn here, I'm going to be absolutely shelled on lap 3. But he does a decent turn here, absolutely heroic, thank God. But we actually managed to get a bit of a gap. But you'll see in a minute, nothing really came of it because I'm not joking. I come through in a second. I was full whack. Everything I've got, as much power as I can put out after bridging over and then trying to stay on the wheel. And the guy behind me was waving his arms, moaning, the guy in the blue and pink. He was like, you got to make it hurt. You got to put down the power. I just don't think I'm very aero because I was putting down as much power as I could. So look, he flicks the elbow, come round. Look, I'm almost at 500 watts for a second now. I'm doing like 400 watts. I have got nothing more to give. And the guy behind me was shouting at me to give more. That is it. I was like, this is when I realised I am not made for this break. And I'm thinking, get me back to the peloton, because I was giving everything I had and getting moaned at. But he then pulls back through. I jump on. I'm in a deep hole here. I'm thinking, if this brake does stick, I'm going to be shelled in about 2 laps. But oh, sorry. I'm one taking this commentary. But the next little clip, you will see just how much of a gap we've got. So it's going to jump back a little bit. So you can see here, Dad was on the side getting some clips. This is us 3 here. It wasn't a mega gap at this point, because a lot of people were just absolutely mashing it, trying to bridge over / close the gap. So that's the 3 of us there. And that was the point I was just talking about, where I was getting absolutely shouted at. But you can see there wasn't much of a gap. And when you're trying to get away from, say, look at the size of the peloton, you can just about see it on the left. There's about 60 riders in this field. When you're trying to get away from 60 riders doing 27.5 mile an hour, it's pretty hard to get away. You've got to be seriously motoring. But you can see the gap we had, and just there you could see me pulling up. So it's going to go back to the onboard camera. The guy pulls off, and I see he's not fully committed to the attack, to the brake. I'm not really fully committed either, because it was hurting basically, and I could see guys were shutting us down. And then the guys shut us down, and I quickly jumped back on, because I thought, if there's a few more of us here, we can do something and potentially get away. When there's only 3, and I'd say I'm half a man, so it's really 2.5, because I haven't got the power to do anything really. And I realised that in that first bit, I need to practice getting more aero. But I've jumped on, a few other guys have come back up, and yet again, I hear that we've got a gap, and I'm thinking, God, no, surely not. Where are they? But nothing came of it. We all sat up. But this, I'm back in the peloton now, but I'm still not in the wheels. I'm an absolute nightmare for this. But you can see a couple of guys going up the road now. There's 3 guys going up the road, and this was the pivotal move that I missed. So where I'd been shelling myself, and I'm not even really that much protected now, because I'm still up near the front. But you can see a couple of guys are trying to get away off the front, and you can hear the car coming along beeping now. What that means is the E12, the guys in the brake are coming, so we've got to stay left. So those guys attacked at possibly the most perfect time, because what happens when all the E12s come past is the pace normally eases in the peloton, because we're obviously trying to stay out the way. You can see people are trying to keep the pace up, because if that move gets away, it could be dangerous. But it did get away. There was 3 guys in it that managed to get away. You can see here the pace has dropped massively. We're doing only like 24 mile an hour, no watts. And I think in a second you'll see the E12s that are in the front group come past. And you can see right round the corner there, that's the group that are trying to get away. So we've eased, they haven't. There's the E12 guys, absolute machines. Look at the pace they're going at. There's about 10 of them in the brake. Full gas. So yeah, we've eased. And it's allowed 3 guys to go off the front, basically. And just here, this is where people notice, like, oops, we shouldn't have eased that much, because we let them get quite a big gap. And everyone just absolutely starts whacking it once the E12s go. So, I mean, I was already in a hole, and then we're whacking it again. But I've jumped on matey's wheel, and I'm thinking, I need to sit in, let my legs recover a bit before I start doing any more attacks. But I think you can just see here in a second where the car is up ahead. It's quite hard to see. You have to squint and look closely. That is where the 3 guys are off the front. Real strong guys these were. And look, you can see people, I'm in the headwind again. I'm awful for this. I need to get better at being in the wheels when I'm not doing anything. But you can see people are whacking it, trying to get across. This guy's seen it, whacked it. The lacquer guy's whacked it. I've jumped on that because I'm thinking a lot of strong boys are going up the road here and you want to get involved. But it was tough. The three that got away, they were powerful boys. And there is a lot of real strong guys at Goodwood because it is flat, fast, and you've got to be strong. I'm not going to lie. You've got to be strong. So anyway, I've jumped on the wheel and we didn't manage to shut down. Everything comes back together in the peloton. There's now 3 guys off the front. So it's all back together, the 3 off the front. I'm sitting in for a bit now because the efforts that I was doing, trying to get into the brake and stuff, was putting a bit of a hole in my legs. So I've sat in, I'm just trying to recover, get the heart rate back down, because I knew it was going to ramp up again soon. And here it does, because people are trying to, everyone was trying to either bridge over or shut it down. But you could see just here, this guy here, we're trying to now, a few of us are on the front-ish trying to bridge over. When this guy looks over his shoulder, you know he's blowing. So I've nuked it, come round. I'm burning matches again because I'm not bridging or anything. I'm basically just shutting this down for the peloton, which is absolutely pointless when someone else could do it because there's loads of teams there. I'm a lone wolf. And then I've bridged over and then this guy's like straight away waving me through. I'm like, I'm the sucker that goes through and actually whacks it at the front. This is why I say this is a lesson in how not to crit race or how not to circuit race. But you've got to just love it. You've got to go there, just whack it for an hour, see what happens. But I'm on the front and I'm doing a bit of an effort, pulling the peloton along, and then just nothing came of that again, and we were all back together. I think this hit, look, I need to get in the wheels. Watch this monumental attack from Man Bum, matey. What an animal. That's the move you want to go with. If you want to try and bridge across, he's got some ponies, that guy. But look, I'm not even in the wheels now. This is just pointlessly burning matches because I'm in the wind. I'm not even contributing to pulling anyone along or helping, so it's pointless. But we've just jumped around a little bit further now, and boys are starting to ping off the front again. You can see a couple of guys there, and I'm trying to, yet again, I'm trying to go with it because I know I'll be honest, I need to get in a break to do well. I've realised that I can't do anything in a sprint, really. I've half tried to bridge across, but really I'm not bridging across. I'm just doing a turn to shut this down. Thankfully, the Surrey Hills Cycle Works, I think that's what they call, guy come round, because I mean, I was still having to work hard even in his wheels, but I was getting shelled at that point. And then yet again we go around the corner, bang, it's pinging again. We're way over. I've been jumping in and out of the video, but we're way over, like halfway through the race now. I think we've only probably got about 3 or so laps to go, and you'll see here there's a little gap open. I think a little gap. This guy, once someone looks over their shoulder, you know they're hanging out. But there's a little gap just in front of us here of a few guys that have tried to go off the front. Nothing's come of it. You see on the left, those 3 there have sat up, not interested, and we're still trying to shut the gap down. So you'll see there's 3 of us here. He eases, and I'm like, nah, I want to get him in the mix, baby. So I pull through to the front, get some beans and try and shut these 2 down. But you'll see the car in the distance is still the 2 guys off the front. They were out there for, I want to say, over 30 minutes they were out there. So probably 35, 40 minutes. Nah, probably 35 minutes they were out there. But anyway, I've burnt some more matches, as you do. Trying to shut these 2 down. But really, I'm just shutting the peloton down. I need a rear camera. Look, there goes Man Bun again. I didn't have the legs to respond to that. Look at how the gap he's put in. That guy is an animal. But I'm not joking. I didn't have the legs to go for that. When you're the guy on the front trying to shut something down, and someone goes round you at that sort of speed, it's pretty hard to jump on. And I was like thinking, I just need to sit in a bit and recover here. But Man Bun, nothing really came of it. A lap later, everyone's pinging again. I think we're about 3 laps to go now. And I'm starting to feel the effects of all the efforts I've put in. And yet again, I'm in a headwind on the front. Like I said, I need to get a rear camera hooked up just so you can see all them wheel suckers behind me. Because I'm yet again on the front selling my soul. And this is why I'm not good on a flat course. I'm not a fan of sitting in. It's boring. I want to be near the front. I want to be putting out some power, getting things going, and that's just the way I like to race. This is just training for me, really. I don't want to say I go here to win, like everyone else does. Thankfully, I've managed to find a wheel to sit in here finally. But at the end of the day, the most important goal for me is cyclocross at the end of the season. So this is just all training, get fitter, get faster. But I think we're coming into 2 to go now. The 2 guys off the front here. So there's 3 of us. This really annoyed me right here. If you're second man, just do a 5-second pull. Come on, don't sit up. But there's 1, 2, 3 of us with 2 to go. There's 2 off the front. Matey pulls off. This guy pulls straight off. Come on, do a little effort. So that annoyed me a bit, and I thought, sod it, I'm just going to absolutely whack it down here. So I did. I got in the drops, gave it to ponies. Where the car is where the 2 in the break are. We've got 2 laps or 2 or 3 laps to go now, something like that. I'm whacking it. You can just see them on the right, the 2 that are off the front. Is that them? Yeah, that is them. The 2 that are off the front are just there. I've realised at this point, I'm disappointed in myself that I didn't carry on and try and shut that gap down. But I've sat up, eased up a little bit, because I looked over my shoulder and realised I was in absolute no man's land. When I'd done that big turn, I just got my head down, smashed it. What I didn't realise is I'd pulled off the front of the peloton. So I've jumped in. They shut it down. I think this is the bell lap now, yeah. So a lap and a bit later, it's the bell lap. We still hadn't closed down the 2 at the front. Everyone's just giving it berries now. I've instantly jumped on this wheel. But as I was saying back there, super disappointing. I just didn't quite have the legs to shut down that last little bit. But I should have carried on trying. I'm disappointed in myself. That was a poor show. But everyone's starting whacking it now. I'm thinking I've got to be up there. I've got to be in the mix coming into that sprint. And we still have to close down the 2 off the front. You can just see them round the corner now. So we're slowly winding them in. And I'm finally in the wheels. We've got what? 3 minutes left of pain. My heart rate's 175. I've naturally got quite a low heart rate. So like, when it gets 180 and above, I'm like sort of maxing out there anyway. But you can see here, we move over to the left. The guy on the front now, Lacquer, he rides for Lacquer, I think they're called. The man needs a medal. The turn he does here, he helps. He puts this whole peloton in the race, back in the race. Absolutely sells his soul for everyone. And I've got a lot of respect for that. He had about 16 riders in it. They should all be bowing down to him and thanking him for this effort he does. Because he does a monumental pull on the front. I can't imagine the watts he's doing, because I'm doing a lot of watts just to sit behind 2 back. But he's still going. Absolute heroic pull. Mad respect. whoever he is, I don't know his name, but he deserves a medal for this pull. But you can just see on the right hand side of the screen the two guys that are still off the front. Lacquer guy's sensational pull pulls off. I don't know if he managed to stay on, but what an absolute hero. And then Blue and Pink, who was shouting at me in the first breaks, now on the front. I'm on his wheel. He flicks his elbow. I'm like, nah, I ain't helping you after you had a go at me. But then I sucker for it and I go around him and I whack it. And I whack it a little bit, but at the same time, I'm thinking, we've got half a lap left. My legs are in a state and I've got to try and recover a little bit to have any sort of sprint. But you can see here, the teams start organising, getting the old lead out, trains ready, and I've had an absolute mare. This is how not to get yourself in a position for a sprint. I'm still in the headwind. I just need to jump on a wheel. Now, you'd think it was easy to get on the wheel, but there's actually a guy to my left. So just there, you see him. I cannot get on the wheel to save my life. Now, I don't have a team with me. I'm a lone wolf out there. So as every man for himself, I need to find a wheel to get on. And I am not directly on it, which is a poor show from me. You've got to be on a wheel, saving as much energy as you can. But you see just here, I've managed to get on the wheel, which is an absolute godsend because the pace is high. Look, we're doing 30 mile an hour. Thankfully, I'm finally in the draft. But that is how not to do it. You want to get on a wheel early doors if you're a sprinter. And you'll see here, I'm still not like perfectly on a wheel. But because it starts to spread out a bit, I'm getting a little bit of a benefit of a draft. Or sort of, apart from this bit where matey's muscled me back off the wheel. Because I'm a little noodle. I get pushed off the wheel quite easily. But it was full gas down here and my legs were pretty empty, to be honest. You've got to be on high alert in the sprint anyway. So we're coming into the final corner and everyone's ramping it up now. You'll see here I get squeezed massively from the right. Just there, bang, matey almost hits me. I'm like, whoop, here we go. So then I get squeezed by these two and I'm like, oh, do I want to be mixing in this? I don't know. I lost a lot of places there. I'm just not keen on the sprint. But I try and give it some beans. This is a pathetic sprint. I'm seated here. Look at the guy next to me. Look at his legs. Ha! Go on, son. But I'm seated here. Absolutely pathetic sprint. And I think I just missed out on the points. Maybe 12th place. But I'll show you the sprint from the side angle. You can see the guys coming through. My legs were just absolutely spent by this point. I'd tried to give way too many efforts to get in too many breaks. But I think I maybe rolled through in about 12th out of 60, something like that. But absolutely savage day trying to get in the break and failing miserably.
How was that?
Shit.
Oh.
I think that course don't suit me at all, does it? But it's useful as a chocolate teapot.
Well, you got into a little break there, I saw, about 3 or 4 of you, and then it sort of like, there was a bit of an argument going on.
I went to the front and he was like, you got to give it full gas. I was like, this is full gas. This is everything. When you're on the front, I don't know power. The guy behind, when we got in that break of 3.
Yeah, I saw some whinging going on and I wasn't.
Yeah, he was like, you got to bury yourself now, full gas. I'm like looking down like,
that was it, yeah. Some people just don't realise, do they? And
yeah, he's probably got 20 kilos on me.
Yeah.
He moves a bit faster. So that's a wrap. Gave it the beans, my best shot, best I could do. Tried to get in a few breakaways, covered some attacks, shut down some gaps. Got a mega workout in, but nothing came of it. I think I was just outside the points. I might have been like 12th, something like that. But I made it hurt. That's what's important. And that is what I enjoy doing. And that is how not to race. But if you do want to get involved, definitely check out the Goodwood ones. Even if it's your first one, they've got like a 4th cat race, 3rd, 4ths. So it's mega, like nothing technical, but it's fast. But if you manage to sit in the wheels of the peloton, there'll be about 60 guys. It's a hell of a lot easier. So it's a good chance to get in the bunch, get used to racing. But I hope you've enjoyed the video and the footage. It's been a bit of a long one because it was an hour race and I didn't know what to take out just because I was constantly trying to do things. But I hope you've enjoyed this video and I'll catch you in the next one.